Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy. I am Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And yeah, this is part 2 of What If Isagi had a trickshot weapon. I wanted to say right off the bat, I think I'm going to be doing Isagi what ifs for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I think it just works for me. I think I want to try something out with this YouTube channel, and I want to try to stick to Isagi what ifs here. And you may even get like one Isagi what if. This is no guarantee right now, but you may get one Isagi what if that is heavily edited and kind of like a different style of what if in the near future as well, kind of like once a week. Hopefully that would be the goal. But with all that said, I hope y'all enjoy, and if you are on YouTube, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. If you're on Spotify, well, leave a follow and a 5-star rating. And I'm not going to waste that much more of your time because I want to get right into part 2 of What If Isagi had a trickshot weapon. Let's get it. Next, we go into the second game. This second game is against Team Y. Team Y is grouped with someone by the name of Nico and another by the name of Okawa. Okawa is a speedster-like person, and he's extremely fast and has really good breakaway speed. But at the same time, it's really Nico, the one that thrives in all the chaos, because Nico has insane vision. Nico sees a lot of things that many others would not, and he kind of can pick and choose exactly what he wants to see and what he wants to do. And Isagi sees this pretty early, but it's not like he's some defensive prodigy, so what is he really supposed to do? But they do go back and forth more or less. Isagi watches as Nico kind of passes the ball deep down the field, as Okawa would score relatively quick, but Isagi's team would go right back at them, and they would score extremely fast as well. Isagi would even kick the ball from extremely far away, as it would slam into basically the side of the goal and bounce perfectly toward one of his teammates who scores the goal themselves. Everyone is going crazy about this, but Isagi, well, he's used to this. That's one of his like passing trick shots. He knows how to beautifully hit the side or like a crossbar, bounce it a certain direction, and it would be like a perfect pass. And most of the time people don't even react to it because it's pretty obvious that it's going to miss, so they kind of put themselves in a position to more or less realize it's going to miss and get ready to recover the ball. But they're not used to such a controlled spin on the ball when it bounces off of the crossbar. So it would easily be passed right to Gagamaru, and Gagamaru would score a goal, putting them tied 1-1. But here's the thing, they're 1-1, but Nico and Okawa are debating if they really want to continue trying to score. Because here's the thing, yeah, they want to win the match, but let's say they continue to try to score and Isagi's team figures a way to stop them, they may be put in an extremely bad situation. And well, first off, they kind of try and score on that next possession, and they actually would. Nico, seeing that it seems like their defense isn't really adjusting, but Isagi is just absorbing what he sees at the moment. He might not be some crazy genius, might not be insanely good at defense, but he's slowly but surely understanding what Nico and Okawa are trying to do. And his team would easily score another goal with a beautiful pass to Bachira. Isagi would jump for the ball, and instead of actually going for it entirely, he would actually just slightly tap it, and it would kind of roll toward Kunigami, and he would be wide open for a shot, scoring, and it would put them 2-2, still tied. And Isagi would begin to talk to his teammates and begin to say that he could see the opening now. He knows exactly what to do. And they ask him what, and he says that all he's going to do is do an old-fashioned just press the ball handler. And he says that all he wants to do is distract Nico enough to the point that maybe they can get a weird pass off of him or get a nice steal. So he begins to press Nico. more and more and more, and it's kind of a game of keep away for a little bit, but eventually Bachira would find an opening, stealing the ball, passing the ball up, and immediately Gagamaru would be in position to kind of take the ball from Bachira, because Bachira would pass a beautiful rainbow across as Gagamaru would dive and header it into the goal, putting them up 3-2. Isagi knows, at least now, that all he needs to do really is put the pressure on Nico. Nico isn't even trying to score himself. All he's trying to do is set up his buddy Okawa, or set up the other player Okawa. So Isagi knows that this is what needs to be done. Press on, and press on. So using his really good conditioning, because Isagi has pretty damn good conditioning, with kind of the crazy stuff he does, you kind of would need it, because he needs to cover a lot of ground sometimes, especially with some of the trick shots he tries to implement, and he just puts the pressure on Nico. And this would be fantastic, and it would lead to this game of keep away that would last for the majority of the game, and a game of keep away that would lead them to getting a steal, and Isagi would easily score a goal. And this time he would fake a trick shot as if he's going to do some crazy thing, and he would just tap the ball and it would go rolling right past the goalie, and everybody stands there in complete shock. They were expecting some crazy trick shot, some bounce off the crossbar wheel kick. They don't know, freaking that's what he's been doing this entire time. But this time it wasn't like that. Everyone stands there in shock, but Isagi celebrates with his team for another goal and celebrates his team for the win. This is going to put them 2-0, and Isagi is pretty excited about the win and pretty excited about, well, being able to be up 2-0, especially because if they win their third match, it seems like they would be a lock for the next selection, or at least based off of what the other records are telling them. Isagi would immediately celebrate with his team, eat some good food, and new rankings would come in slowly but surely, and they would learn of kind of where people are. Isagi's pretty high up there. I mean, just offensively, he's a monster. I mean, he's extremely hard to stop. There hasn't been a striker out there that defensively has been able to keep up with him. But let's be honest, the coordination with his trick shots are a little skewered. Not many people understand when they're going to get the ball or when they're not going to get the ball, and so on. But still, it works out, and Isagi continues to have his success. And Isagi will continue to have his success in the next match. But before that match, he does watch a bit of film, and he actually would walk in on one named Chiguri watching film as well. He would ask Chiguri about more or less what he thinks about the game and what he thinks that they should do. And Isagi would speak with him for a little bit, but soon Chiguri would kind of blow him off and say that he doesn't care anyways. And Isagi would say that he really shouldn't give up on this, and he hopes to see him actually try on the field, because he has a little hunch. Maybe Chiguri is pretty fast. He looks fast, so maybe he's making an assumption, but he thinks he's gonna be pretty fast. Isagi would laugh and say that, well, speed with his trick shots would be absolutely unstoppable. So if he decides to come to his senses, then they'd make a hell of a duo. He'd walk out, and Chiguri would just stare at the screen and roll his eyes. The next match would be against Team W, and this match would be against the Wanama twins. The Wanama twins were known to have insane communication without even saying a word, and their communication would lead to insane goals. At the end of the day, their coordination, their communication, their chemistry, everything was perfect for this kind of this type of environment, at least being on the same team. And quickly, Isagi's team would realize that this will be a pretty hard match, especially trying to keep up on defense. The Wanama twins would score an early goal, but Isagi would strike back, and strike back with fury. he would fake pass and fake pass again as he would split the defense entirely. And everyone's kind of shocked because, let's be honest, Isagi doesn't have the craziest dribbling, doesn't have the craziest speed. He has really good conditioning, but his ball movements, his fakes are what really get people on their toes, especially because he's so unorthodox. And soon Isagi would flip the ball over his shoulder, and everybody begins to kind of attack it, and he would kind of do a weird boot kick. Like, he would kick it with the bottom of his shoe, and it would do a weird spin as it kind of knuckles out toward the edge, and it stops before the goalie can like even pass it. The goalie kind of over pursues in a way, and it goes straight through the goalie's legs. This would completely shock everyone, and Isagi says that he kind of picked up a little something from Bachira and he made it his own. Bachira is impressed because, I mean, he didn't even think he was working on this in training, but it seems like he kind of mixed a little bit of Bachira's dribbling with his ability to shoot in such an unorthodox way. And that dribbling just made him even more lethal. The Wanama twins would be right back into action, right back talking all the smack in the world to Chigiri, and right back to try and strike for another goal. Isagi would try to pick up one of them and just disrupt their chemistry, and he tries his best, and even Raichi tries as well, but it's almost impossible. But eventually, it seems like someone would run across out of nowhere, chipping the ball away, and Isagi would see the opening, and he would jump for it. He would immediately dive toward it as he takes the ball, and he looks to his left, and he sees a guy with red flowing hair sprinting down the sidelines. Isagi would smirk as he fakes the pass right and launches the ball with his right leg, kicking it as far as possible down the left sideline. He looks to see that the ball will spin and go even further, and he smirks, thinking that that's a perfect pass. The ball rolls, Chigiri catching up to it, and he has a one-on-one with the goalie. Easily, Chigiri would get by the goalie and score as well. Isagi would be cheering, and everybody would be all hyped up. This is when they can take things over. This is where they can change it all. This little spurt from the Wanama twins gets shut down once again, and Isagi is now reading them little by little. Isagi is now seeing the simplicity of their play style and knows that he's so much more unorthodox that now he needs to just simplify his mind on defense. Stealing the ball from them, he would look for Chigiri, and Isagi would run, trying to run and catch up to him, but of course he couldn't. But from deep range, he would kick the ball as hard as possible toward the goal. As he's kicking it toward the goal, it seems like the goalie is actually making sure that he goes to the ball as quick as possible, thinking that he's trying to do some weird off the crossbar thing. But as the goalie dives for it, he actually hits it with his hand and it bounces toward Chigiri. Isagi would smirk at this, and the goalie realizes he just effed up, because Chigiri comes sprinting through and he kicks the ball into the goal for another score. Everybody is standing there in awe, and it seems like Isagi is steps ahead of these people, especially in terms of setting up goals like those, like these insane goals. Like, it was absolutely insane. And Isagi would tell Chigiri that he really wasn't kidding, that these trick shots really will benefit both of them, especially with his speed. Chigiri would smirk and tell him to just get him the ball. And that's exactly what happens throughout the rest of this game. It seems that TMZ is evolving more and more and more, and it's soon to be that they're unstoppable. Isagi's team would win, and that would put them 3-0 and put them in a position that they would automatically get into the next selection. But still, they want to go perfect. Why not? They had a bit of a rough spot in the beginning, but now it seems as if they're kind of picking things up. So why not go perfect? Why not finish what they started? Isagi's team talks about what they're going to do, talks about the game plans, And with all of the weapons in the world, Isagi himself is put in the dead center, the middle of it all. He will be the facilitator, and he will be right next to Bachira as well, in which Isagi pulls over both Bachira and Kunigami, and he tells them and shows them how to actually do 2 specific passes. For Bachira, he wants to teach him the pass that would kind of like knuckle out. It seems like it's going to go further than it is, but it actually just stops. With that said, he also talks to Kunigami. With his leg strength, if he can control where he hits the crossbar and where it's going to bounce, well, let's just say he'll be lethal passing as well, and they'll never know if he's trying to score or if he's trying to pass it to someone else. He does work with them on this, but come on, this is extremely difficult tech. So they're not going to be able to get it immediately, but it will be beneficial for them to kind of understand it to a certain extent. So with all that said, the game against Team V would be eventually upon them. The game against Team V would be against a prodigy by the name of Nagi. They would be going against Ryo and Zantetsu, who is a pretty fast player in his own right. But with all that said, they go head to head right on that field to see who can have the perfect 4-0 record. Isagi would start the match quickly, very quickly, with a pass to Bachira, as Bachira tries to do the pass that he said before. And this pass would be perfect for Gagamaru, a sprinting Gagamaru who sees the ball perfectly and dives at it, headering it perfectly in. And since the ball wasn't any kind of going crazy, there was no spin on it at all, he was easily able to control it and header it in, putting him up 1-0 or 1-0 immediately. And this would surprise everyone on the field, and Isagi would smirk, saying that the ball still had a tiny bit of spin on it, but Bachira is getting there, that he's learning faster than Isagi ever would have learned. In which now it's time to try and stop what's coming. Nagi and Ryo. Ryo would try to copy what's going to happen or what just happened, passing it deep to Nagi as Nagi jumps midair to stop the ball. Isagi would meet him there, and he would realize that Nagi, he has an unorthodox way of playing as well. It seems like he likes messing with the ball midair too. He sees this and he begins to understand what Nagi is trying to do and what he's capable of. But first off, Nagi would find the goal himself, easily scoring, and Isagi would smirk as he's running next to Nagi, saying that he won't be getting many more of those, in which Nagi would look at him but wouldn't say much at all and continue to just get set up once again. The next possession, Isagi would go running down as he gets a pass from Bachira. He would quickly tap it to Kunigami, as Kunigami would strike as if he's even trying to score. Everyone is kind of confused, except for his team, except for Team Z. Everyone on Team V is wondering if he thinks he's crazy. Who does he think he is? There's no way he's making that. And they're right, he doesn't. It slams off the crossbar. It's a little unorthodox and not in the best position possible, but Isagi understands how the ball's rotation works, so he puts himself in a good position. And he would immediately would intercept the ball as it bounces off, and he would tap the ball in with relative ease, putting them up 2-1. And Team V can now see the trouble that every single other team has had, that this team is extremely unorthodox. And Isagi would watch as Zantetsu, Ryo, and Nagi try to set themselves up for another goal, and it would lead to another Nagi mid-air trap. But this time, Isagi was ready for it. He would just disrupt it just enough to where it makes Nagi uncomfortable, and when Nagi tries to kind of get set up and actually pass the ball to his other foot, Isagi would steal it from him, saying that looks real nice. Imagine if he just took it from him. In which Nagi's confused as Isagi would pass it up to Bachira, and Isagi would go running down the field. And Nagi's kind of taken back by this, just staring as Bachira would pass the ball, and since the ball and the rotation isn't that much, well, Isagi can do exactly what Nagi does, but with a combo of Bachira and Isagi. Nagi might be able to do it on his own, where he can stop the spin of the ball like that, but since Bachira's spin isn't much at all, Isagi can control it midair, and he immediately turns his hips as hard as possible, and he kicks the ball in while still midair. Nagi watches in complete shock, and Isagi smirks as he knows that he just showed up, or he just showed out and showed up to the best player on Team V. Isagi would dap up Bachira, and Bachira would say that was freaking crazy, and everybody would be pretty shocked. But Nagi would be taken back by this, and now he wants to level up his game. Nagi tries to level up his game, do different dribbling techniques and also different control techniques that would lead him to maybe a goal. But still, it seems like Isagi's trick shots are way too much for the defense of Team V, and with the addition now of Chiguri and that speed, the long range speed, and with Kunigami's kind of understanding now a little bit more of where the ball will land if he kicks it right at the crossbar, Chiguri, his speed is able to kind of make up for the little bit of error if Kunigami makes the error, and easily can kick the ball in for him. With that said, they would win by a pretty decent margin, maybe a couple goals or by a couple goals. But with that said, the game would be over and Team Z would win this entire selection with a 4-0 record. Now that is insane. Their record would speak volumes to what they were capable of, and soon when they're back in their room and celebrating, well, Jinpachi Ego would eventually show up on the screen once again, and he would explain what's to come next. And next is something that he believes that they're ready for, and believes that will make and or break them as players, and because this will be individual. And it all starts with kind of working out and training first, but then it leads into the one and only Blue Lock Man. It seems like it's like a holographic type of weird goalie that actually works. You would think holograms wouldn't work for actually touching the ball, but hey, it actually works. And this is actually pretty cool. But Isagi has no issues with this at all. We're talking about unorthodox. This goalkeeper is not ready for what Isagi can do. Isagi's trick shots are way too much for any computer-based anything to understand. Even Jinpachi Ego realized this when they were making it. There is no understanding what Isagi is going to do. Isagi easily scores multiple goals and goes back to back over and over and over again, faster than he would have ever in canon. And eventually he was walking through those doors. And as he walks through those doors, well, he sees a room that has one person in it. He has no idea who it is, but he kind of walks over, and the person would immediately tell him to join his team, and that they're going to pick up the other person so that they can go on to the next part. And Isagi, well, he's not so sure about this. He thinks that he should really wait for his buddies. And another person would walk through, this tall dude with long hair, and immediately the guy by the name of Rin kind of pushes them through, and without even agreeing or saying anything, Isagi is forced on a team with Aru and Rin Atoshi. He has no idea like what the hell even just happened. He tries to go back, but it seems like the door's locked. He literally cannot go back. And well, he kind of shrugs it off and hopes that with all of that, what they've been through, that his teammates back over there will be able to kind of do their own thing and hopefully win. With that said, they end up on the other side, and a team of Rin, Isagi, and Aru awaits one more team that could take on their challenge. With that said, that is for part 3, or the finale, of What If Isagi Had a Trickshot Weapon. And if you enjoyed, show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And I hope y'all have an amazing day. Later.